More rain is coming and a cold change for some in the south. Hello, I'm Philip Duncan. Thank you for joining us. Well, we're tracking a couple of lows, one out in the Tasman Sea right now, which you can clearly see, and the other one which is forming next week and will be coming down towards the upper North Island out of the subtropics. We've also got a colder change occurring at the moment down around the lower part of New Zealand, and that will get even colder as we get in towards the end of the week on Friday. That is sort of peak cold, if you like, around the lower South Island with some brief low-level snow flurries. So we'll try and make sense of it. At the moment, it is warmer than average across a number of areas, or at least milder than average. And that's also been producing some fog. So we saw foggy areas around the central and upper North Island this morning, thanks to light winds, but also that gentle nor'easter coming down. So as we take a look at the rainfall over the rest of Wednesday, this is the 24-hour rainfall map. As you can see, the west coast, plenty of rain there, over 150 millimetres of rain expected in just 24 hours along that western side. The dark blue, that's at the very bottom of the scale, or the top of the scale, depending on how you look at it. That's just a couple of showers. So nothing much for the North Island on Wednesday. But as we go to tomorrow's rain map, the 24-hour map for Thursday, you can see the west coast rainfall totals much lower, down around that 50 millimetre mark. So the rain does start to ease, although still a fairly wet Thursday on the way. And then the rest of the North Island gets a little more rain, around that sort of 20 to 30 millimetre mark in many areas in the north here, maybe a little bit less actually. Some of you in the yellow around Auckland may be only getting about 10 millimetres, and even less around Hawke's Bay. So now that you've got that in your head, let's take a look and see what is causing that weather. So you can see on Thursday, still subtropical, and we've got a line of showers, drizzle patches, and that will turn to patchy rain for a time. Meanwhile, the low out here in the Tasman Sea still driving in rain to the west coast, and we've got an interesting setup here. Two different high pressure systems, one to our northeast, the other well out to our west to southwest, and they're producing two different airflows for us. This one's producing the subtropical one over the North Island, this one dredging up a very cold sou'easter which is coming in, and it develops on Thursday, but it peaks on Friday, even colder on Friday. There will be some lower level snow flurries. By that we mean 200 metres or so, maybe 300 metres in some areas. So not necessarily really, really low, and the totals won't be that great, but it gives you an understanding. It will be cold on Friday. So for newborn livestock, just be aware that the misery index, the wind chill, will be a bit tough on Friday with that windy sou'easter coming through, or it might even be an east to northeasterly, but it's really a southerly coming out of the Southern Ocean. And to the north, slow moving rain tracks away from the upper North Island, which leads to Saturday's forecast being, at this stage, mainly dry. There's a little bit of high pressure coming through behind that very slow moving band of rain, so it may still be cloudy in some areas, but as you can see, it does look mostly dry. Bit of rain though lingers around the west coast into Saturday. Things also start to warm up just a little bit down here as winds turn more northeast, and by the time we get to Sunday, there are nor'easters with high pressure in the area, so a cold start but a fairly okay day on the way. Low pressure sits out in the Tasman Sea still, but that low has now fallen apart. In the North Island, not a lot going on Sunday, just a couple of showers. Then we get to Monday of next week, and you can see our next rainmaker coming on in out of the subtropics or the northern Tasman Sea. So there'll be a burst of rain, maybe some heavy falls, and potentially those winds starting to pick up as well. We haven't locked that in yet, but it might be a little bit windy. High pressure down the rest of the country with a subtropical nor'easter. Oh, a lot to talk about. A subtropical nor'easter coming back down to the South Island early next week, and that means after a cooler weekend, you will start to warm back up again into next week. That's all from me. We'll update you again on Thursday with the very latest.